right, it's about 4:30 in the morning. Got a few hours sleep last night. Flipped the switch just a little bit ago on a single bore. Been watching him for a good week. Always single, one of our semi-permanent traps. Basically, the trap was due for maintenance. So it's kind of like, we get into a situation where we got to go ahead and take him, because if we go in there, we're going to lay it up with human scent. He's going to be gone, especially these single bores. This time of year, it's July, is hot. Yesterday on the truck, it was 112. One of the systems I was in said it was 109. But that's when we do our trap maintenance, the hottest time of the day. When it's this hot, these hogs are coming in kind of like right before daylight, coolest time of the day. Two other systems we're currently looking at right now. One system, the max number's 9, the other one's max number 16. Yesterday morning, that 16 showed up like at 6:30, and we just didn't want to do a daylight drop on them. So we're trying to hope that they'll come in a little bit, earlier. So you'll see that this time of year. Even if you go out in the fields at night, they'll start going out in the fields, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because it's the coolest time. And they're just pretty much laid up during the day trying to cool. So running solo, got the Tacoma loaded, 4-wheeler loaded. When we get done with this single, provided we don't drop on the 16, the 9 we're in, but it wasn't 9, it was 8. We had one missing, so we're just waiting for that 9. If we drop on the 16, then we're going to respond to that. If not, right after we get done with the solo, as soon as the sun's up, we're going to start on maintenance. We've got maintenance on 3 systems on that end of the county, and then we'll try to wrap our day up early. But anyway, so hang on, here we go. I don't think this is going to be too much of a wild ride, really, this morning. He's a decent sized hog. Trap is really buried. We've done a few videos off this trap. And that's kind of it. I'm already sweating. I ain't even done nothing yet. But here we go. All right, we're on property. I am very much awake now. As I said, the animals move, closer to daylight just because it's cooler. So coming up here on this 2-lane paved road, I did a Dukes of Hazzard, NASCAR, Six Flags. I don't know what it was, but I went between 3 bucks and velvet, 2 bucks cleared, and then I got between the second and the third buck. Somehow navigated through that. We don't run factory bumpers on anything we own, nothing. Everything is heavy steel, even on the wife's Jeep, just for that reason. Just because of the deer. Anyway, we got through it. So nothing outside the gate. It's been really clean outside the gate. We actually trapped a pretty decent sized boar out of here about 6 weeks ago. So if you don't really watch our channel or you're new to it, you'll kind of see that this is really how we do it. We've got, I think, 24 systems up, almost 60 cameras coming in. And that's not bragging, it's just factual. We're kind of thinking about trying to reduce some of that because it's just a heavy load. These traps are ready and waiting 24/7, 365. That's why trap maintenance is critical. You don't want to be going to these traps and hand baiting. You really don't. If you do have to hand bait, and we do from time to time when we get a decent sized group, because we're just pushing so much corn through that feeder, and we're wanting to pour a line of corn out so we can count the hogs. They will get used to your human scent a little bit, but it's too risky. And so the batteries need to be up. Every 2 years, we swap out our 6 and our 12 volt batteries, no matter what. They're gone. I don't care what the voltage reads on them, they're gone. If you think that you don't need to go to your control box on your gate, I would highly argue that. You need to go to that control box. Ants get in there. There's all kinds of crap that goes wrong in there. You need to go and inspect it. You need to test the system. There's nothing worse than working a group and you're watching them for 3 weeks or whatever, and you go to flip the switch and it don't work. And that's why the system needs to be tested. Test your feeders. It's all about the maintenance. It really is. I think mostly what people pay for what we do is maintenance and analyzing pictures, trying to get that maximum number on that group. You know, most people would have dropped on this group of 8. It ain't a group of 8. It's a group of 9. It just every once in a while hits 9. You know, and why does that matter? Because that 9th one is probably sitting right outside that gate when you flip the switch on the gate. Ain't nobody ever gonna trap him. So, no flip-flapping. We fixing to jump out here, slip on some rubber boots. Heavy dew, heavy humidity this morning. It's, you know, 5 a.m. and it's 80 degrees. And, you know, anyway, we're gonna get a little dew, a little humidity, and introduce you here to this boar. I'm confident that he's probably not going to be overly friendly. I don't blame him. And still watching this other trap with this group of 16. And if they come in a little bit before daylight, I may go ahead and flip the switch on them. We really need to take them. There's a pecan orchard near that trap. Very problematic in pecan orchards. Well, they're not eating nuts, but they're eating nut grass, and they're tearing that orchard up, man. Just, you know, rooting and making big old holes for tractor tires, and it's just, anyway. If y'all want to get rich, then a hog bait that's got nut grass in it. That's what I would tell you. All right, enough for that. Gotta go. Bunny rabbit. Anyway, we're going to ease on up here. Wind's perfect. Oh, taking that whippoorwill, man. He's giving it hell this morning. Beautiful morning here in South Georgia. I mean, beautiful. Loving being out here versus laying in a bed. Here we go. We busted. All right, just went by the nice camera, coming up on the gate, and let there be light. Looked like he did a little landscaping. Hi, fella. All right, so let's watch this mannerism. Talked about this in other videos. Start shoving that head under them panels. They may have been trapped before in a different type of trap that, you know, may not be what it should be. 4-leg on-time feeder. He smells. Jaeger Pro Mine texting camera. Hey, fella. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of mannerism. He's been in a trap before. He's just kind of working back and forth. But yeah, if we would have came, we were actually right here yesterday on this property. We've got another system. And if we would have done maintenance, I guarantee he probably wouldn't have come in here. So anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and put him down. We're watching this other system, and you know, the system with the what we're looking for is 16, and it's I don't know, it's about 5:30, something like that. Yeah, he's just working around them panels. I don't see a lot of that. You know, we'll see him squat down and like they're gonna try to jump up. Hey, fella. You know, we're not seeing a lot of that. That generally means that they've been in a trap before. Most people try to save money. They build their own panels. They make them too short. They don't have little squares at the bottom. You know, all that kind of stuff. And you know, it just doesn't work. I mean, there's a methodology, time and tested, and you know, Hey, buddy. He's trying to figure out who I am. Dude, I'm 56, and I sure as the hell ain't figured out who I am either. So no worries. We're on the same page. But yeah, instrumental, ice camera, like we do with all of our systems. Just put it on T-post and set it right there. Keep the squirrels off of it. You'd be surprised, but like these little bit of limbs right here actually make a difference. You need to trim that kind of stuff because when that thing flashes, it just kind of picks up all that. But as you can see, we got it tucked back here in the hole. Starting to maybe we had a little rain earlier. All right, well, let me get him put down and we'll get back to you. All right, walk back to the Tacoma and got the four-wheeler. Decent sized little bore. Glad to take him out of the peanut equation, as we call it. For some of you in TV land, we've had a lot of questions asked, like, what's the best customer to work for? Farmers, hands down. Farmers are the best people that we've seen since we started the business to work for. And the main reason is because it's their livelihood. They're 100%, the farmers are, because it's affecting their livelihood. So that's the kind of people you want to work for, the people that are like going, holy crap, this affects my livelihood. If it's a large tract of land, it's a hunting tract, that doesn't necessarily affect their livelihood. It might, affect what they like to do, their interests, their hobbies, their passion, their therapy, whatever. But when it affects the livelihood of how they make a living, farmers are 100% behind what we do. Also, for the most part, farmers are very educated that thing right there is a wild animal, and we can't control that. And there's that misconception a lot of times is, we see that. It's like, well, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, one, I'm not a hog psychologist, and two, I can't control that wild animal. The only thing that we can really control in the hog trapping world is that gate. That's it. Sometimes we can't control our landowners because they're like, well, I wanted to shoot that hog, and I don't care if you're trapping a group. And that's a violation of one of our policies and agreement. We can't clearly control the wild hog. We can't control it at all. It's a nomad creature, does whatever the hell it wants. We just try to give it a little happy place here to come, And like tonight, I was really wanting to control that 9th hog to get it into that group, and I couldn't do it, So again, when you start looking at hog trapping, the only thing that you can control is really that gate. There's so much crap that goes on outside of this trap that we have no clue about. And some people are like, well, why would you take the time to run a thermal in? I would say maybe 15% of the time. When we come into a trap with a thermal, we may engage a hog that we've never seen before. And I'm going to take that opportunity to remove that one from the equation. It just takes a few extra minutes. Park a quarter mile away, walk in with the thermal, do your scan, and literally, I think last week, a solo boar, I had another one outside the trap, never seen him before. Brand new to me. I don't know, and that's the thing, is that people don't run cameras on their property, so you don't really know what's out there. And when you start running cameras on creeks like we do, and you start seeing these hogs moving, and landowners like, crap, I didn't know there was hogs over there. You probably always had hogs over there, you just didn't know it. So enough about that. Favorite customer to work for is a farmer, I'm telling you. I just can't stress that enough because it's the livelihood. And then we're not having to do a lot of education with a farmer because a lot of them have raised hogs. They've got cattle. They understand wildlife. They get it. Just because you're a deer hunter don't mean you understand a hog. But a lot of our farmers have raised hogs back in the day, our older farmers, and it's just like, hey, I need this, get it. They get it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. When people call and they're like wanting to start a hog trapping business and like, all these questions they have. And I'm like, number one, work for farmers. So let's take a buzz at him and I'm going to shut up. All right. So there's our solo boar. Not much cutters to speak of. He's young. I mean, he's not a baby, but he's definitely a peanut eater. So you'll kind of see, well, you can see we're kind of starting to get some daylight. But yeah, 4-leg on-time feeder. We've had squirrel issues. So we're going ammo can, flex conduit, mine texting camera. And you can just see we kind of buried this thing in here. I mean, we really did. This is the way we like to do it. So far it's worked out good. We had to move this trap across the property because we had some changes with land. We had some changes with cattle. And so this trap's been here for about 6 months now, I think. Still not completely satisfied with a few things with its design. And for some of you, you may not understand that. But it's all about the design. So we're back here, what we call 12 o'clock, which is where the camera's at. It's all about that lens, okay? You've got to think about that when you put these cameras up. That's our eyeball into this situation. You know, it is what we do for a living. I'm kind of really particular about camera angle, camera height. We've got our outside camera, which helps us, so that's another angle. But these are our eyes. And, you know, the angle is important. We've got a few little issues with this trap. And most people are like, oh, man, it looks great. You know, when you look at it every day, which is what we do with our monitoring, every day we're looking through that lens of 60 some odd cameras. And there's traps that I can tell you right now that are absolutely dialed in. Everything's perfect. The angle, everything's perfect. And then we got a couple that I'm like, man, I'm just not happy with it. You know, and I'll push a panel back. I may, you know, take the big pole and make an adjustment with it. That angle tells you what's going on in here. And when we had a pretty larger group in here, maybe 2 months ago, about 20 hogs. You know, I was having trouble with it. And I was like, I really don't like the angle. And I'm not convinced it's where it needs to be. We're still working on it. So that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. It's a down and dirty quick one. Any questions, comments, concerns, you know, whatever, man, just call us. But I got a big day ahead of me. I got to go ahead and get maintenance done on this one. And then we got to head that direction and hit 3 more maintenance systems. And that's it. And again, like I said earlier in the video, it's about the maintenance. If you're thinking there's a way to keep from getting into the system and doing maintenance, I don't agree with it. You need to be in that control box every month, examining, testing it, making sure you don't have a bunch of wasps, you don't have a bunch of ants, none of that crap. You know, checking these cameras, making sure that that system is going to fire. There are things that are way out of our control. But again, in hog trapping, the only thing that we can control is that gate. And when we flip that switch, we want it to work. And if we've got to come out here and figure out why it don't work, that's human scent, and you're probably going to blow your chance. So anyway, wonderful day here in South Georgia. Hope y'all enjoyed the whippoorwill, and we're going to get to it. Thank you.